Hi there everyone, and welcome to a new Topic Tuesday video. Now, when I was thinking of what topic to talk about today, I didn't really know what I should talk about in today's video, but I decided to talk about some of the medical kind of issues I've had to deal with growing up and some surgery I've had. The reason why I want to do this is because yesterday I went to the specialist and I found out that I might have to have more surgery because I'm unable to breathe through my nose, and this is an issue I've been struggling with a while, and a few times when I've got sick, basically I've stopped breathing in the middle of the night, and it was really scary because it happened to me when I was in Tasmania in January. Yeah, and it happened to me when I was in Tasmania in January. It happened, and it was really scary because I stopped the first night I was like couldn't sleep at all. I probably didn't sleep the whole night, and I like all of a sudden I stopped breathing and I like stood up, and the other leader that was in the room with me, she like gets up, runs over and like sees if I was okay, and the other leader that was sleeping in the main room with all the girls comes up to me as well. And that's just something that's really scary because it happened to me a few times at home, and it happened while I was on camp, and it's not something, you know, you want to have to deal with. So yesterday I went to the specialist, and he said that both my nostrils basically are swollen at the top, so there's not enough space for air to get in, and that's why I have trouble breathing, because there's not enough air, and when I try and breathe through my nose, it gets blocked, and then I can't breathe properly. So I breathe through my mouth, which isn't ideal because breathing through your mouth is not healthy, because when you breathe through your nose you've got all the hairs to block all the dust particles, and breathing through your mouth of course is not ideal. So after I went to the specialist, he was like, yeah, he had a look and he said you've got swollen nostrils. So basically it's like you have two options. First of all is you try and use a nasal spray, and then secondly we'll put you into surgery, and he can't explain what the surgery is going to be like. He's like, it takes 15 minutes, you're under anesthetic, and then we go in there and then we open up the swollen airways and we unblock it and we allow more space. But he said that something I'm really freaking out about, he said that it's not too bad, the surgery, there's not going to be any scarring or anything, but afterwards, because there's going to be a lot of blood, you have to have 2 plugs up your nose, and he said when the nurses take that out, that is going to be pretty like traumatic and pretty, I think he said like that's the most painful part of the surgery. And because I don't have private health insurance, well, I do have private health insurance, but we don't have hospital cover, so I'm on the waiting list to go to a public hospital. So that means I could wait up till 1 year, anything from 1 year to 14 months before I had the surgery, because I have to have it in the public setting. If I was having it private, I could have it like any time I want, really. But in the meantime, I have to use this nasal neck spray. I have to spray it every day, morning or night, twice in each nostril every day, and if that works I don't have to have the surgery. I prefer not to have the surgery, but of course if there's no relief from this after like a few weeks, then they call me up and they say, look, we've got this position, do you want to have the surgery, then I'll go ahead with it. But they could ring me up and say, we have this position, do you want to have the surgery, and I could say no, and they'll take me off the list. So that is something that I just found out yesterday, and before I had to go to the specialist I was freaking out, like literally. I don't think I've ever freaked out of going to like just a doctor normally, but I was like, I thought this could just be something, you know, just a habit, but I was like, I do try and breathe through my nose, but I know there's limited breathing, and when I breathe you can hear that noise. It just, yeah, it's just not normal. So that's why I did go to the doctor, and I got a referral, and then I finally went to the specialist yesterday, and then they're like, that's what's going on. So it's not something I want to have. I've had surgery before a few times, but yeah, it's not nice. I not so much the surgery, but the recovery afterwards is something that can take a long time and be quite horrible. So far in my life I've had 4 surgeries. One really major operation in 2010, and then I had minor surgery done on my foot to remove warts, and then I had my wisdom teeth removed, and then if I have this one, that'll be 4. So I just talk to you quickly about different surgeries I've had. The first surgery I had was in 2010. So as a child, I suffered from something called, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's like hypothermia, anyway, basically what it is excessive sweating. Now, everyone sweats, of course, but what I suffered from was excessive sweating on my hands and on my feet. This caused issues when I was in primary school because the teachers often thought I was licking the pen, and people didn't want to hold my hands because it was sweaty, and it would be sweaty all the time, like in winter time, in summertime. Sometimes it would get so bad, literally sweat would be dripping down my hand. And I knew there was the surgery. My mum told me about it, but I was just too scared, and I think I was too young to have it. But one day I just decided, look, I just want to just do it, you know, just I want some relief from this. So I went to, if I remember, I went to the doctor, and they gave me a referral, and they're like, you can have it done. There's this doctor that does it, and he's really successful. He's one of the best. So I went to have an interview with, like, see him, and he's like, yeah, I can put you down. You can put you down on the waiting list. And basically, if I had it done at a public hospital, children's hospital, but they only take up to 16 years old. When I had the surgery, I was already 16, but because I was on the waiting list before I turned 16, I was able to have it at the public hospital and not pay anything. Otherwise, I would have had to have it at the private hospital and pay like $1,000 a night. So basically what they did was they went in under my armpits, they went in, they put a little, I think this is what, like, roughly what happened. They got a little microscope and they put it in, and they went in through my armpits, and they had to like collapse one lung and block off one of the sweat glands and tie it back up. And that was under general anesthetic. So general anesthetic means you're completely knocked out, so you don't remember anything. And it's weird because, like, literally that part of my life I don't remember anything. I just remember going in to the hospital, having to wait several hours, not having anything to eat, and then when it finally was my turn, I had my hair tied up, I was lying on the bed, the anesthetic had already been put in, and I just slowly remember just drifting off, and the last I could hear, like, some people talking, and that was it. When I woke up, I had no recollection of what happened. Like, I don't remember anything happening at all. Like, and I stayed overnight in the hospital, and it was pretty traumatic. They wanted me to stay longer, but for some reason my dad wanted me to come home the next day, and he kept on like pacing around the hospital. I'm like, can she come home? And the doctors let me come home, but my mum still remembers. She said, she was so angry with my dad. She's like, you should have let her stay at least one more night, because I came back and I was in a lot of pain, and if I was in hospital it would have been a lot better because they could have helped me manage the pain, but I was at home. So that was the first time I had any major surgery done. The second time I had surgery was on my foot when I had warts removed in 2014, and I was on crutches for a few weeks. I won't go into too much detail because I do have a video on that, so if you want to check that video out, I'll have that linked in the description below. And then the third time that was under local anesthetic, but when they put the anesthetic in, that hurt really bad, and like to this day I still got stuff scarring there and there, and I can still get warts because basically after I had the surgery to stop the sweaty palms, made the sweaty feet worse, so that's why I get warts. And I have to have a machine where I put my feet in and like sends these electrical currents through my feet to prevent the sweating. I also have to wear special socks. The podiatrist recommended Thorlaw socks, and I got a few Thorlaw socks, but they're about $20 each, and they do help. Like when I wear them, the sweat doesn't absorb through the socks, it like stays in the socks and absorbs it, and it's quite dry. And now I've discovered bamboo socks. They help a lot as well, with the stinkiness as well. If I wear stockings and cotton socks and I take my shoes off and I go onto like pavement or anything, there will be a marking there. So when I was in Cambodia, everyone would wear sandals, but I wore socks just because I didn't want to walk around and see my sweaty feet marks in someone's house. So I wore socks. And now since I've been wearing bamboo socks, there's definitely been a lot less stinkiness and just a lot less sweaty when I touch the socks. At the end of the day, they're still quite dry, so they're good. I won a sample pair. I got 2 pairs from Best and Less, and then I won a sample pair, and since then I bought a few more. So I have 2 low cut ones and 2 high cut ones. They're just like this, and they just got bamboo written on them. So I've got a black and a white pair of this. Then I've got 2 low cut ones, and then I've got 2 from Best and Less as well. So that was an issue because of the sweaty hands, kind of led to sweaty feet being worse. And then last year I got my wisdom teeth removed. I also have videos on that, and that was under local as well. Oh, sorry. When I had my warts removed, when he put the anesthetic in, he put it in 3 spots. I think like around there, 2, and then on the top of my foot, like here. When he put that one in, that one hurt so bad. I was sweating, that's how bad it hurt, but I didn't scream, I just like held it in. I have a pretty high pain tolerance. And then last year when I had my wisdom teeth removed, I had local anesthetic as well, and it hurt pretty bad when he put the needle in. It's like a burning sensation, and I could actually feel like drilling when he was drilling the teeth and like plucking. It didn't hurt, but it just was a really unusual sensation when he was doing that. And the recovery time is always the worst. I think last year when I had my wisdom teeth removed, I think I had a slight reaction to the anesthetic because I was making all weird noises in the night, and I like just started making noises uncontrollably, so that may have been a reaction to that. So that's pretty much my surgery stories. As I said, I've had surgery 3 times, which is quite a lot, but I know a lot of people probably had quite a few surgeries, especially if you have some terminal illness. You probably have surgery all the time, but for me, like, it's just something I don't want to keep doing. So I'm hoping that I can find some relief from just using the nasal spray, but if I don't, I am on the waiting list to have surgery, and I just freaking out about it because my dad went with me and I went in there by myself to talk to a specialist, and my mum's not here, so I'm just hoping that obviously my mum will hopefully be here when I have the surgery unless she goes back home again, but I'm kind of freaking out about it, guys, so please just pray for me, and hopefully this nasal spray will work. But if it does, that means I'll have to keep on taking it, because he's like, this spray stuff can last 80 years, so maybe for the rest of my life I'll have to keep on using the nasal spray, which is kind of like a medication, because this is like stuff for people with hay fever, and I don't want to be on medication, but if it means not having surgery, he said there's 80% success rate, so it could 20% means it could fail, and I'm hoping it doesn't. And I mean, it's nothing life-threatening, but it's still just an inconvenience basically, because not being able to breathe through your nose and you're breathing through your mouth, it's not attractive. So guys, that is just an update of the lighting. If I just have my ceiling light on, I'll show you what the lighting is with just my ceiling light. See that? That's just with the ceiling light on, and it's a kind of murky day outside, so I have the window and the curtains open, but it's not very bright, and I don't have my very good camera, so I have to have a backing light, so there is a shadow, but it's a lot easier to see. Don't know what that is from though. Some weird reflection. Anyway guys, please don't forget to enter my giveaway. It will end tomorrow. Check out my Instagram, my Snapchat and my Facebook page, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.